in this world in which the white supremacists watch the first one is stop snitching. All right, but snitching doesn't mean what has, in this world in which the white supremacists watch everything, and they will put out something in the mind of some black person who probably is already thinking about doing someone some harm, because that's what we are taught. We're taught to glorify doing harm. Not doing something constructive, but doing harm. Brag about doing harm. So, many people have took the position of snitching means you can go out and kill people or steal somebody's car or something.
See, y'all made me shoot your stupid ass over nothing. Hey, come on, man, we supposed to be brothers. What, you trying to get smart? Nigga, are you trying to kick some knowledge? Nigga, fuck that, nigga. Give me your motherfucking jury, nigga. Take that shit off. You gotta pay you to your baller, huh? Your baller?
Or break into somebody's house, and if someone sees you doing it, they're not supposed to so-called snitch. No, that's not what it means. Snitching means you are going to do harm to someone unjustly. You go and inform someone about someone else to do harm to that person and harm that person unjustly. The person didn't do anything that warrants harm, but you go and carry a message to someone who is powerful about someone who is powerless, so that harm comes to the person that is powerless. That's what snitching is. Someone informing to the white supremacists on someone who is trying to do justice and telling them about something that the white supremacists can use against the person to do harm to them so that they can't help to do justice. That's what snitching is. That needs to be stopped. Passing on information. Snitching is a form of espionage. It's a form of giving information to someone who believes in doing harm to people so that they can do more harm to people who are trying to do no harm. People who are trying to do something constructive, like produce justice. And then you try to harm that person by carrying messages about that person that are harmful. That's what snitching means. If someone is deliberately trying to do unjust harm, you give information. That is not snitching. That's giving information, and that information should be given. No one, anyone who goes out here and carjacks someone and comes and hides under somebody's porch, everybody should point out where the porch is and who's hiding under it. If you have nerve enough and you think you're tough enough and you think you got enough going for you to take somebody's vehicle and shoot them in the head and then go and try to hide, the very fact that you ran and tried to hide means you don't deserve anything. You gave up everything right there. There's a slogan, it's not in the code book, but it's one that will be in the next edition. Stand by your work. In other words, whatever you do, stand by your work. If you're a carjacker, you're a gangbanger, if you're a person that likes to do harm to people, you want to rob some old lady on a bus stop, don't run. Stand there and say, yes, I did it, and the reason I did it is because I'm supposed to do it, because that's what I do. That's my business. That's the business I have chosen, as they say in the Corleones, as they say in the movie The Godfather. This is the business we have chosen. So if this is the business you have chosen, brag about your business to the whole world, including everybody who doesn't like it. And if a whole army comes after you, you should stand there and say, bring them on, because this is the business I have chosen. I'm not running, and I'm not hiding, Now, the very fact that you're hiding under your grandmother's porch, causing her a whole lot of misery, means you're not worth doing what you did. And you shouldn't be defended. No one should speak in your behalf, including your grandmother. Now, that should be the policy all over the world. Black people should make that rule for ourselves. And don't start talking about, well, you all shouldn't, you turn me in, you turn your back on me, and you turn your back on yourself around here terrorizing the whole neighborhood that you grew up in. You're making no sense at all. You're not logical. And think that you're going to be protected, or should be, by whom? You didn't do anything to protect the person who was trying to make it to work that morning. And you killed them on their way to work and took that $20 and considered yourself Superman. Well, now, if you consider yourself Superman, save yourself, Superman, from anybody that doesn't like it, meaning a whole army if it comes after you. Don't run from them, run to them. And prove that you're super. When you run down the alley, trying to find a place to hide in a trash bin, you just gave yourself away as not being very much to you.
Hey, what's going on, people? What's going on? I just want to start this live stream by giving a little food for thought. Although my live streams are full of food for thought, you know. But how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How you guys doing this afternoon? Okay. And for some people in the world that's watching me right now, this morning, this evening, on this night, how you guys doing? I hope all you guys are doing well. But yeah. So last night, I was watching a certain live stream. And this live stream is, you know, it's the typical current so-called black manosphere topic when it comes to so-called black males talking about the so-called black female and et cetera, et cetera. And there was this one person who came on the live stream and who basically told everybody in the live stream and said, hey, you can't save these females. So why waste your time and continue to complain about these females on and on again? Now, I'm only paraphrasing what that person stated. You know, that person didn't state this verbatim, but in context, that's what this person was stating. And then someone responded to this individual. Someone in the live stream responded to this individual and stated, well, hey, we're not going to stop complaining until the mainstream media acknowledges. Once again, I'm only paraphrasing what this person said. What this person said. He said, we're not going to stop complaining until the mainstream media acknowledges the flaws of a certain segment of the black female populace. So when I heard that, I'm like, you know what? That's interesting. That's interesting. So let's say it is. Suppose the world, fuck the mainstream media. Suppose the entire world. Suppose all four corners of this earth, all 6 to 7 continents. Well, you know, there's 7 continents, but 6 of them, that's where civilization exists. So, you know, out of the 6 continents that civilization exists, let's say everyone in the world finally acknowledges that, you know what, there's a large segment of the black female populace in America or in the Western Hemisphere that possess many character flaws. That possesses many character flaws. Let's say that happens. My question is, what will actually be accomplished out of this? Like, what will be the actual accomplishment out of this? Suppose the media, the political establishment, suppose the educational establishment, suppose you just walk outside. You go to the grocery store, and you hear the cashiers in the grocery store speak to each other and say, you know what? Black women just have bad attitudes. Okay. Suppose one day you take a trip somewhere, to the Bahamas somewhere, and you on a plane, and two people behind you sitting down and said, you know what? Black women have bad attitudes. Like, suppose all this happens. What exactly have you accomplished? What exactly have been accomplished if this happens? Or in other words, what have so-called black males accomplished if this happens? If the whole entire world acknowledges that so-called black females have bad attitudes, or they possess character flaws, what will be accomplished? Have the issues concerning black males been accomplished if this happens? have the marginalization of black males in society, economically, education wise, have this been accomplished, or would this be accomplished? Like, what exactly would so-called black males accomplish if the entire world acknowledges that there's a certain segment of black American females who have character flaws? I mean, if you have people in the current so-called black manosphere whose goal is for the mainstream media, or just for the whole world to just acknowledge that a certain segment of the black female populace have a bad attitude, or just have character flaws and what have you, then really you've accomplished nothing at all. So when I heard the person in that certain live stream made that statement that they want the mainstream media to acknowledge that black females have bad attitudes, it's like, okay, technically speaking, so-called black people in America consist of only 13% of the US population. Therefore, we're not even a high number. Like the black populace does not even consist of a high enough number for them to be a mainstream segment of America. That's one. Two, the internal issues in black America is not and never will be viewed as a mainstream issue in America. I mean, technically speaking, if we want to be technical about it, black American issues is an American issue, but the way the larger audience in America perceive black American issue, they don't perceive it as a mainstream issue. So therefore, if you want the mainstream media to acknowledge something that the greater part of America don't consider to be a mainstream problem, you're fighting a losing battle. And not only that, but I always have to go back into manosphere history, being that I'm one of the true godfathers of this space. I always have to go back to history. in order to put certain things in this proper perspective. Because when during the Black Mansfield 1.0 days, when we spoke about the relationship dynamics between the so-called black male and so-called black female, our main goal was to really enlighten so-called black males and really enlighten them as to how and why your relationship with a lot of black females are the way that they are. So it was really to enlighten black males and let them know that, hey, listen, that your female counterpart has been put in the position where they've been socially engineered to think negatively about you. And you know, and it's also, we also said it as a way to also enlighten so-called black females, because a lot of so-called black females don't even understand where and how, or the origins of their pathology. So it was we really discussed the relationship dynamics between both black males and females to really mainly enlighten a lot of black males, especially the younger black males, but at the same time enlighten the black female and younger black female. It was the goal was not to get the greater population or the mainstream media to acknowledge this, because this is not considered as a mainstream issue. The black male and female dynamics in America is not viewed, and probably will never be viewed, as a mainstream issue, which is no coincidence as to anyway. I mean, but suppose that the whole world acknowledge that this exists, right? In which, if you really want to break it down, the world or the greater population do acknowledge the character flaws of a lot of so-called black females, because and you can see it when you look at the entertainment sector, when you look at certain movies or certain television series or certain sitcoms, where a lot of times you see so-called black females play that stereotypical black female role, in which she's all fucking, where they would play this character that's very defiant, very aggressive, have this bad attitude. So in a way, the mainstream world, as far as mainstream America, acknowledge this, but they acknowledge it as a way to laugh at it, which is why they make these movies and television shows of a lot of these stereotypical black females and make them a laughing stock. But is that what you want, Black Manosphere? You want the world to acknowledge that? You're not going to accomplish anything if you want the world to just acknowledge something like that. Correct. And not only that, my thing is that, you know, a lot of so-called black males in this space don't realize that a lot of their problems, and when I mean a lot of your problems is far deeper than the character flaws of black females. The problem of so-called black males, specifically in America, goes to the economic issues that black males face, the education issues that black males face. When it comes to the health issues that black males face, when it comes to the high incarceration rates that black males face, when it comes to the high levels of crimes that a lot of black males participate in and become a victim of. Your problems are far deeper than some black females, black males. And in order to get these problems to be acknowledged, you have to have a level of power so these things can be acknowledged. And it starts in the political level. You have to organize yourselves politically. And political power, a lot of times, results in power within mainstream media. Thus having the ability to have more of your problems and more of your concerns be acknowledged. But then again, when you bring up the concept of black males organizing and being involved politically, you always hear 101 excuses as to why we can't do it, as to why we shouldn't do it. Or you just plain out have people who don't have an interest in it. But yet you want the mainstream media to acknowledge something that you have a problem with. Get the fuck out of here. You want someone else to acknowledge the flaws, the character flaws of so-called black females. Yet we have a very large portion of our young black male populace dying as a result of homicides. I keep bringing up this statistic that the number one cause of death of black males within the US between the ages of 15 and 34 is homicide. Homicides is the leading cause of deaths of so-called black males between the ages of 15 and 34 in the United States of America. But instead of us putting our minds together and come together and figuring out a way of how can we stop this from happening? How can we stop this from happening? Or how can we dramatically reduce this statistic to the point of the fact that homicides become the lowest or the least cause of deaths of black males within that age range? What can we do? What is it within the environment that we need to change for so that black males within that age group don't even put themselves in a position to be in that statistic? No. Let's not think of that. Instead, let's continue complaining, talking about the character flaws of a certain segment of black females, and hope that the mainstream media is going to acknowledge what we talk about. That shit sounds stupid as hell to me. No. Let's not focus on the high level of employment discrimination that exists in America, which is a big factor to why there's an unemployment crisis amongst the black male populace in the United States. I'm not saying that discrimination is the only factor, but it's one of the factors that contributes to the unemployment crisis of black males in the United States. No. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. Let's just cry and complain about Jordan Peterson's words when he said women are right, men are wrong. Let's complain about that. Let's complain about that. And let's sit and let us sit there and make it seem that Jordan Peterson is on the side of females or so-called black females. Let's do that. Let's not sit there and try to solve the actual issues that black males in America face systematically. Let's not concern ourselves with black male education and how black boys within America's public education system is performing worse than any other demographic within the United States. No, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. Let's sit there and talk about how black females are obese and overweight, and hope and wish that the mainstream media acknowledges this. No. Let's not worry about that. Let's not worry about the fact that black males within America's public education system are more likely to be targeted for school suspensions and school disciplinary actions than any other demographic in the United States. Let's not focus on that. No, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the black female. Let's focus on Brittany Renner and what she said in her interview with DJ Academics. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on these things. Let's focus on Jada Pinkett Smith's interview that she did on her show called The Red Table Talks, when she had an interview with Gwyneth Paltrow, and about the stuff that she said about Will Smith. Even though all she's doing is a damn publicity stunt, come to find out that Will Smith is coming out with a book. So right before he comes out with a book, she's gonna make this statement just to create a publicity stunt, because you know how it is in Hollywood. There's no such thing as bad publicity. All publicity is good publicity. No. We're gonna concentrate on that instead of concentrating on the actual issues that a large portion of the black male populace face. I mean, if the world acknowledges that the American black female is crazy, what now? What have you accomplished as a result of that? Suppose the whole world acknowledges that. What now? Suppose the mainstream media acknowledges that. What now? I said this shit years ago. What I said years ago, I made a statement. I said how it's very simple what black males could do to solve their issues when it comes to them encountering no good so-called black females. You know what to do? Leave them the fuck alone. It's that easy. It's that easy. I mean, yo, this is crazy. You want it's crazy, man. It's real crazy. This shit is insane. And let me tell you guys this about Jordan Peterson. Okay. Being that I mentioned clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson, when he did the interview when he made that interview on the podcast, what's that channel called? The Roommates, on the Roommates channel. And he was asked about the issue of men having issues with dating women. Everything that Jordan Peterson said was right. He was right. He was right. What he said was right. He was right. So you motherfuckers could take my words and call me anything underneath the sun. He was right. He was right. See, because if you're it's okay, I guess I'm going into this whole goddamn relationship bullshit, right? If you are an adult male and you're having issues with attracting females, something's wrong with you. See, because the issues when it comes to this black male female dynamics is not and should not be about the supposed inability for males to attract females. The issues, especially when it comes to black relationships, is the mistreatment that black males receive when they're in relationships or marriages with so-called black females. That's the issue within a lot of these relationships that you see in so-called black America. It's the mistreatment. It's not the inability to attract. So if you are a male and you have a hard time getting the opposite sex to find you attractive, something's wrong with your ass. Because that shouldn't be a problem at all. It's not even hard to attract the opposite sex. And the same logic goes with so-called black females, because a lot of so-called black females cry about the same thing. But instead, like when males talk about this shit, They're more straightforward. Females, they want to create these stupid ass words like pretty privilege, colorism, and all this other bullshit. No. What it really is that they have a hard time attracting the type of guys that they want. That's really what it is. And if you are an adult female and you have a hard time attracting the opposite sex, something's wrong with you. It's that easy. It's that easy. There's nothing complicated to this. It's simple. The issue was never the inability to attract the opposite sex. The issue when it comes to this relationship dynamic, like I said, sorry to sound redundant, is the mistreatment that one receives when they have relations with the opposite sex. And how one was programmed to mistreat the opposite sex when they're in relationships with them. And how this programming is intentionally done. That's the main issues when it comes that's the main issue when it comes to the relationship dynamic between the so-called black male and female in America or in the Western Hemisphere. It should not be or never was the inability for the opposite sex to find you attractive. Like I said, if you have that problem, the issue is you. And a lot of you motherfuckers, listen, I'm going to say this. A lot of you motherfuckers, when I hear a lot of you motherfuckers on these panels, and a lot of times when I speak to you, a lot of you guys, and I'm speaking about both the so-called black male and female in this particular thing that I'm mentioning. When I hear a lot of you black males and females communicate in these panels, I fully understand why a lot of you guys have a hard time even getting somebody to look your way. Because you motherfuckers are crazy. Y'all some crazy motherfuckers. You niggas are insane. Hold on for a minute. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. But it's like, okay, I'm not perfect, of course. I have my flaws like any other human being. But at least with me, I try my best to be the best person I could be. I mean, that should be like the basic thing when it comes to all people. To me, that's something basic. It's a basic necessity or basic instinct to strive every day to be the best motherfucker that you can be, right? But man, when I listen to these damn live streams with a lot of you motherfuckers, it seems like that basic instinct does not exist. Listen, no sane person would put up with a lot of you individuals on here. And I'm speaking about both you so-called black males and females. The insanity that you guys possess and display in a lot of these live streams show that no sane individual would put up with your asses. A lot of you motherfuckers have infatuation issues in which you guys are obsessed with other individuals online that you do not know. Yo, ain't that some crazy shit? Now, it's crazy. It's crazy in itself to be obsessed with another individual. But it's even worse to be obsessed with an individual that you do not know, a total stranger that lives hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of miles away from you, that you've never seen before, that you probably will never ever meet. You guys only encounter each other on the internet. And you are so obsessed with this person or these people to the point of the fact that you're trying to speculate or make speculations, you're trying to investigate their personal lives. Like, how you gonna try to find out the personal life of somebody when you don't even know who the fuck they are? You know, you got motherfuckers on here, right? Who will sit down and watch your videos. They will watch your content. Or they will watch you on, different live streams to try to study you. They try to study you to a point where in their minds, they trying to find out what's going on in your personal life by just trying to study how you behave or what you say on these live streams. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous, man. For the fact that you guys have all that time in the world to do some shit like that is crazy to me. Because I don't have that type of time. I'm a busy man. I mean, I do have bills to pay. I mean, nobody takes care of me outside of me. But even if I did have the time to do some shit like that, I'll invest my time in something more constructive. No sane person in their right mind would desire to have any sort of relationship with a lot of you motherfuckers on here. Unless if they want to kill themselves. If they want to commit suicide, then yeah, they'll be in a relationship with your asses. Because a lot of you motherfuckers have poor communication skills. I mean, goddamn, we could have a conversation, but the moment someone disagrees with what the fuck you say, you keep interrupting. A lot of you guys are like that. You got motherfuckers on here who think they know you. You got people on here who try to tell you about yourself, but don't know who the fuck you are. They think because they spoke to you on the phone a few times, or maybe even if they met you even one time, all of a sudden they think they know you and they can tell you about yourself. Like, what the fuck? Yo. You guys are something else. You guys display a lot of insanity. So this is why I have to agree with Jordan Peterson. But when I say I agree with him, I say that his logic applies to both genders. His logic applies to the logic that he used applies to both genders. Not just one, but of course, it was a question that he was asked that specifically was geared towards males having a hard time finding a female mate. So, of course, his statement was specifically geared towards males. But once again, you could apply that logic to both genders. You motherfuckers on here is crazy. And then you got this thing where people get upset at the dating preferences of total strangers. And that's a whole nother level of insanity that I don't even want to get to, because that should make me insane. A lot of people on here are crazy, literally mentally ill. But a lot of them complain about not being able to attract the opposite sex. And fail to acknowledge that the issues themselves. Now, I'm not saying that if a person has issue with their mate that is order. No, I'm not like, hold on, let me put this in a better way. I'm not saying that if a person gets mistreated by their significant other, that the issues is themselves. But if you cannot get people someone of the opposite sex just to have an interest in you, the issue has to be you. You got these dudes in here complaining about, the 80-20 rule, the jawline nigga, the jawline dude, you have to be above 6 feet, all this other bullshit. Man, it's not all that. If a lot of you males have a hard time in getting the opposite sex to find you interesting, Something wrong with your fucking personalities, man. And it's evident when it's evident when you display your personalities on here. It's evident. Look how you guys behave. Motherfuckers can't even get a word in when there's like a group discussion. Motherfuckers have a hard time finishing to finish making their point. Hold on, what the hell? Motherfuckers have a hard time to even finish making their goddamn point. When it comes to these little group discussions on here. And oh my gosh, the moment you disagree with someone, oh my gosh, here we go. The moment you disagree with a motherfucker in these spaces, oh boy, oh boy, it's like World War V in the motherfucker. You know, when you disagree with a certain narrative that someone tries to push, all of a sudden, yeah, everything bad but a child of God. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy. All right, I'll post the link. I'm done letting getting my shit out. I'll post the link to the panel. Just in case if anyone want to hop on the panel and give their 2 cents, you can. Other than that, if not, I'll just get up and leave. But to go back to the topic of discussion, it's like, okay, suppose that the whole entire world acknowledges that the so-called black female in America have an attitude problem, which the world does. Like, what now? What would be accomplished as a result of this? What now? What's up, MOT? What's up?
What's going on, man? I think that it takes this very special person to keep talking about relationships over and over again. You know, especially with unmarriageable type of women. Like there is no show that's based on women that you want to actually be around. It's only based on the women that you don't want to, and shouldn't be interested in at all. So it's like these people are chasing Stockholm syndrome. First, they don't have the experience. Then they pay attention to the shows that lead you into the wrong direction. Other stuff. So I don't get the whole relationship talk. At this point, I don't get it. Like you brought up earlier about the Jada Pinkett and the table talk shit. They don't understand those people are in the entertainment business. Of course they're going to say dumb shit to y'all on TV because none of y'all opinions and feelings of those people are going to be able to affect them in real life. But it's like they have to chase down everything that a woman says that's messed up towards a man. And like you said, all the real issues here. They don't want to solve any real issues. They just want to stay stuck. And I can't be around that type of shit, man. You know, it's like action. Okay, you know, it's messed up. What you gonna do about it? No, if you know your kids ain't gonna be shit, if you keep procreating with the wrong type of woman, okay, the data's there. Okay, you're not gonna mess with a different type of woman. You're still gonna try to make this type of woman produce these type of results. Like at some certain point, man, it becomes the people who can't make better decisions, short term or long term. It isn't the situation.
Right. And like you said, they're chasing Stockholm syndrome because, you know, like you said, a lot of these males, it seems as if they're caping for, like what you said, for females who are not even marriageable. They're undesirable. Well, okay, another. Let me take away undesirable, because you got these niggas who desire these unmarriageable females, but these females are unqualified to make great wives. But this is what a lot of these males, it seems like that's who they're begging to come to this imaginary negotiation table with.
No, but you have to understand that they know that they can't attract anything else but this. So they want this to act in a manner to which she hasn't been told or cultured, because you're never going to get a better type of woman if the culture isn't going to prepare that for you. So now you have to go into a different environment. But these people like, oh, I'm not going to get my shit together. I'm not going to go in any different environment. I see these people benefiting. I want to benefit just like that. I'm not going to put any work in myself. And all this work that I do put in myself, I'm just going to pitch it back to the people who don't care about me in the first place. I'm just going to give it back to the people who don't give a shit. It's like, come on, bro. Like, at that point, red pill can't save you.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is. That is mental something, because you can't say that you don't understand this shit at this point. You can't say that. You clearly can't say that at this point.
Exactly. And this whole notion of wanting the world to acknowledge the character flaws of the so-called black female, it's like, what is that going to accomplish? It's not going to accomplish it.
No. It's going to accomplish the exact opposite of what they think it's going to accomplish. And let me tell you how it works.
How so? Break it down.
What it's going to do, it's going to make every man who is still with a black woman look like what they want the world to acknowledge, on average. Think about how that works. If you want the world, okay, let's say that you want the world to acknowledge that most people have HIV. You know it to be true, but once the world acknowledges that point, you lose the ability of plausible deniability once the world knows it and actually accepts the fact that it's normal. You lose that as something that you could complain about without having a solution. Because once the world acknowledges it, then they're going to be like, hey, man, why you complaining to us about this shit? You knew this shit was 50%. It's in the actual commercials that it's 50%. What are you doing with this type of person after the world acknowledges it? Like, having the world acknowledge your problems that you refuse to get past, it is a very bad thing. They're just going to stop taking you seriously, all the way seriously, at the point to where the world is going to do that.
That is a good point. But at the same time, would that be an accomplishment? I say no.
Of course not. It's kind of like the dog chasing a fire truck. Okay, you're the dog, you chase the fire truck. Now what? You don't know how to drive. You don't know how to put out fires. You can't roll out this hose. You can't connect it to a water faucet. Why were you chasing a fire hydrant?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, this is not a problem that you want to go mainstream. That's not a problem, because at the end of the day, they're going to start looking at you everywhere you go. Oh my God, he's with this person. We already know what these people are capable of. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. It's only going to make the black male collective look even weaker.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
They don't get that. They don't.
Right.
How basic is that to understand? Is that you talk all this shit. Now the world knows it. Dude, it has far-ranging implications to people in media, people everywhere they go. That's like, we don't want this type of brand around us, because look at what this brand social track record is. We don't want that type of stuff around us. We don't want this person around us, given that this is how this stuff's going to turn out.
Right.
Like, it is the exact opposite of what they think. Because right now, the world doesn't know, nor do they care. But once they know and they start broadcasting out there, then they really not going to care about shit at that point.
Yeah.
Then it
Exactly.
comes down to, after that, well, who are the people perpetuating that this shit is normal? Then they start to go after those people. So, all the people that you think are cool and all that shit, they lose their positions the moment this shit become mainstream. They can
Yeah.
just like, we don't want KS on the fucking platform. We're gonna have to go to his own private website with that shit. And they're gonna be like, look, you know what? Anybody talking shit about this person, we're just gonna erase you from the cosmos. Because you can simply move on to better choices. And if you have the ability to refuse to move on to a better choice, the fact that they allow you to talk shit about X, they become unindicted co-conspirators in your madness. And nobody wants to play that game. Because once you start making something readily available that you know isn't going anywhere, at some point you're going to become responsible for it.
Yep. Exactly. 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 It's that simple. It's that simple. And it's like it seems like they think that the world will end up feeling sorry for them if the
Nah,
world
man,
acknowledges
they
that.
ain't going to take no
Nobody's gonna
pity
feel
on
sorry
you.
for you.
Dude, they're going to look at you even dumber than you think they don't look at you now.
Yeah. 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 Right. 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 And they'll tell you, okay, why like you said, if the world acknowledges this, in a way they do, like I said, in a way they do, because like I said earlier in the stream, when you look at television shows or
Yes.
certain movies, you see
Commercial.
that certain commercials, you see that mammy stereotype taking place. So the world
Still there.
acknowledges it as a way to laugh at us.
Yes.
That's really how they acknowledge it. So, but these individuals in this space, unfortunately, it seems like in their mind, and I'm sorry to repeat myself, but sometimes you have to repeat yourself. Seems like they think that if the word acknowledges this, the way that they want the word to acknowledge it, that they think the word's going to feel sorry for them. And like you said, that's not going to happen. The total opposite is going to happen. It's going to be a way. It's like, okay, why are you still making this choice? If you know this is a bad option for you, why are you still choosing that bad option? Now everyone's going to look at you as something fucked up. Yeah.
And here's the other thing that they don't get. That's why words have definition. What they want is they want the world to be familiar with our struggles. They already got that through entertainment. You don't want acknowledgement because acknowledgement comes with responsibility to do something afterwards.
Right. Right.
Like they're like, oh, if you want the world to acknowledge, I'm like, you don't want the world to acknowledge nothing like that, because that means we can't hire these people no more. We're not hiring the seeds of these people anymore. We got to do something to stop this problem from growing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all the people that they think are entertainers, they're gonna lose their spot because now acknowledgement comes with responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. When you me too somebody in the media, people are familiar with it, but once it becomes acknowledgeable in the media, now they have to do something about it. And that do something about it destroys lives. And they don't care. When it comes time for them to do something, because doing something is what they want. They don't care if it's the wrong thing. And now, the something that you don't want them to do, they start doing in mass. Now you want them to go back to the actual familiarity phase, but it's too late. It's too late. It's too late to go back to the familiarity phase, because the familiarity phase is when you have the most choice. You have the most choice now. Because guess what happens? When you're in a relationship and this, when the killer bee doves show up at your job acting a fool, they're like, okay, you're one of these type of dudes who's with one of these type of women. We don't care if she's in the wrong, your ass is fired. Wait a minute. We already knew. Remember, we acknowledged that this is a bad choice and option and decision, and you're going to be with a bad option, choice, and decision. Why would we trust our business in the hands of a person who will make bad options, choices, and decisions?
Thank you. Exactly. Exactly.
All right, I give you an insight to this. For a while, like if you were married to like a foreign national, there was certain security clearance you couldn't get in certain areas. Why? There was familiarity, and then there was acknowledgement. Once there was acknowledgement that there were certain people trading these tickets back and forth to the government in a certain area, especially China and Chinese motherfuckers, okay, you can't date nobody of that nationality and deal with our organization. Why? Because we acknowledged that there was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we solve it, and this is how we fix it. So
Right.
now you have to go somewhere else where people are just familiar. Because in different circumstances, in different situations, there's going to be a tolerance level of association. Associations come with risk. So if you have a person with a lot of risk and a lot of risky decisions, like in the security clearance, it's not just your credit. It's your association. It's your neighbors. It's the people who you hang out with. It's the people who you contact offline. That could be another thing that could count against black men for even being with black women at that point. Once the world acknowledges it,
Yep.
yeah, that's what can happen. They don't
Mhm.
understand this is how far this stuff can go. But to them, they're like, look, they're going to acknowledge our pain, and then they're going to ride it. No. They're going to do, because they're not interested in giving you power anyway. This is why they don't have your ass in the media all that much, especially in positive roles. So somehow they're going to acknowledge your problem and somehow give you an even better station after that. That's not how that's going to work, man.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not how that's going to work. Nah. I mean, it's just that simple. The so-called black male populace is going to have to leave that specific group of females alone. It's really that simple.
But they can't do it.
I mean, they can, but they choose not to, in my opinion. You know. But I mean, oh man. I mean, instead of solving much more serious issues, people want to invest their time on that. They want the world to, I mean, the thing is, man of tomorrow, what I realize about a lot of people in this current black manosphere is that they don't think long term. You see, man of tomorrow, what you brought up was a long-term consequence because you think long-term.
Yeah.
And of course, you being an entrepreneur for a long time, you have no choice but to think long-term.
Yeah.
And it seems like, based on, because I listen to a lot of your content, it seems like you were always the type of person who was a long-term thinker, who always thought about the long-term consequences in life, which is a great thing. And one of the problems with a lot of people in this current space is that they don't look at things from a long-term aspect. They don't look at the long-term consequences to things, which is why they bring up something this stupid and don't really realize the long-term repercussions to this. What do you think about that, MOT?
Yeah, it's like people have mortgaged long-term thinking for short-term benefit, and they don't understand that short-term benefit is kind of like the spread offense. It's good if you're on man-to-man coverage, but if somebody doubles up somewhere, then somebody's going to be in the wide open. That's how that kind of short-term thinking works. Everybody looking for somebody to not be covered, run in on a crack in the line before they weld it back together. But dude, the longer-term thinking is going to give you the most type of results because you can have your focus very singular when you're focused on one path on the horizon. So let's say you look at the horizon, how wide it is, right? From where you are, focusing on one point, you have to go in so many different directions to meet the end of that horizon in every different direction. You're never going to get there. But if you focus on one singular point all the way to the end, you're always going to get there because you're going to need to just follow and go into just one direction to get there. But see, a lot of people are so, there's the three type of compromise. You have the economic compromise, the money, shit I got to produce right away, fuck, rent coming up, car payment, all this shit. Then you got the emotional compromise. Damn, I feel responsible. I don't know how to help these people and all that kind of shit. And then you got the emotional compromise. The emotional compromise is the worst shit because they don't feel like they have any self-worth unless they have this person around to deal with who they don't have any experience with that they never seen function properly. So there's a lot wrong with this damn thing here. But a lot of people are taking the wrong route to get there. And along with the wrong route, they never seen it completed to fruition. So how you got all these people engaging in this one singular process, messing with one specific person that nobody has seen victory at it, but everyone's good at it, but everybody's actually facing the consequences of the same thing that they claim they're good at. All that can't be true. It can't be true. It just can't.
Right.
That's where we're at.
Right. Right. All right.
Good at it.
Right.
All that can't.
Yo. Okay, mute yourself, Big J.
Yeah, I already got myself muted.
All right. So, I'm gonna say this, right? Because we got Big J and Man tomorrow here, and I just want to make it be clear, since this is my platform, that both of you brothers are going to be cordial with each other. Regardless of how y'all feel personally, y'all both are going to be cordial to each other. If y'all can't, I'm gonna have to kick the both of y'all out. And I respect the both of y'all. I got love for the both of y'all. But both of y'all come on my panel at the same time, y'all both gonna have to be cordial with each other.
Oh, that's what's up. I can stick to the topic. I ain't got no problem sticking to the topic.
Respect.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where we at with it. It's just that that's where we at right now. And it's like the most of the fire should go to the guys who don't get it. Not to the people who do, because that's what we do in Black America. We go after the people who get it and protect the people who don't, because the people who don't matches the actual emotional level of everybody else within the group. So we go after the wrong people all the time to protect the entire group, rather than just have everybody upgrade and update their standards. It's not hard.
Most definitely. So, Big J, welcome to the panel. What do you have?
All right. Yeah, I want Man tomorrow to repeat that last statement. I'm going to repeat that last statement because that's kind of profound.
Which one? About what?
About upgrading instead of talking about one person. You have the wrong person instead of upgrading. Yes.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that, and I could just use my family as an example, and it's impossible that it's just my family. In order to protect the entire group, we got rid of or stopped making the standard of people who did better as the standard. To protect the entire group's level of non-progression, we got rid of the people who actually did something with the environment rather than made everybody upgrade themselves to the next level of standard. So in order to protect the entire group, we protected the entire group by making the standard the people who didn't progress, pretty much.
Okay. Okay. All right. I got nothing to say, Wetbacky. I'll drop on that. I thought I heard something. I thought I heard something wrong. Though. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay. All right, Big J. Have a great day.
All right. Take care then.
All right. Yeah, but that's what has happened. We try to protect the entire group of people who are unproductive by trying to destroy those who are.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
It's clearly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we got rid of the decent women the same way. We got rid of the decent women by putting the women on the pedestal who was feeding everybody within the environment. It wasn't just a man thing. It was a woman thing too.
Correct.
Yes. And it's like what you have right now is kind of sad. It's just like you don't have, quote unquote, in the greater amount, you have the more kind of reformed people who've had their fun and now they won't change, versus the people who are currently having fun within the environment the way it is. And then you got the decent women who don't mess with none of these people, either one of those bad things at all. And the decent people who already left this stuff alone, they could clearly be the standard. It's like a female rapper who diss other, bad women within the environment versus like a Alma Powell type woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like Alma Powell was never going to be the standard for the women. The standard of the women was going to be the reform whore. That's what was going to be the standard because that's something that was easier to work towards versus the Alma Powell who stuck to one dude and had a family and all that kind of shit with Colin Powell. That's what I'm saying. In order to protect the environment, we chose to uplift the reform that person rather than go with the women who was always with it all the time.
Mhm.
So it just isn't for men, it's for the women too.
Exactly.
Both of
Exactly.
the standards were removed.
Exactly. And what happens is that it becomes a large tolerance of fuckery. So we
Yeah.
start tolerating a large amount of fuckery to the point of fact that somebody in this day and age can be my age, 30, 36, 37 years old, and still engage in a level of fuckery and be tolerated to the point of fact that someone could say, well, this person's still young. I'm like, oh, what? At my age, you no longer young. 36, 37, you're close to 40. You're no longer young. I mean, you're an adult. So that fuckery needs to stop. But
Yeah,
this is good.
yeah, and it's like that's where we are. Because here's the thing about it, Wacky. If you're taking actions, there's less talking that needs to be done. But if you're taking no action, there's a hell of a lot more talking that you're gonna need to do to convince people that you're on the cusp of taking some type of tangible action. See how that works?
Exactly. So what we have here who we have here in the stream, we have Mr. Pastor $40 himself. What's going on? Welcome to the stream, Pastor.
What's up, brother? What's up? How you doing, Wacky? How you doing, MOT?
Oh, it's going on. It's going on.
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Fine. Hey, brother, I got a quick question though.
Go ahead.
At what level, when do we accept over drive? Like, I know we want to drive people to be a higher or better version of themselves, but at what level do you have to accept them for who they are and what they desire?
Oh, so what you're saying is, rather than accepting the fact that they can go to a higher station in life, at what point do you accept them that this is how far they're going to go and this is all they are capable of doing? I don't want to misconstrue your words, but I want to make sure that I'm
What I'm saying
processing
is,
that correctly.
you are 99% there. It's not what they're capable of doing, but what they actually desire to do. Your desires control your capabilities.
Oh, so it's easy. Like all these things are individual choices that lead up to a destination. It's kind of like you're running a marathon. It's 20 something miles. This is the course of the marathon. If you are 30 miles off course and not on the course of the marathon, we know how you got off course. You didn't follow the road properly. And it is an individual choice where they end up at. And at the end of the day, we want to spend the majority of our time searching for people to put them back on course rather than having them have the minimum level of responsibility of being on course in the first place. This is why you have like the levels of punishment, unless it's murder, below 17. And then there's a level of punishment above 18. Because above 18, you should know this stuff by now. That's the age of consent. That's when you're no longer a child. And if people are choosing to do childlike actions and not acknowledging that they have childlike responses toward things, at some portion, it's cool for them to be where they're at, but they're not going to weigh down the entire group because their numbers are quite greater than the entire group. That's where we messed up at. Well, it's like, hey, the numbers are where the numbers are. I'm like, no. These people were outliers, and then they became the majority. They became the majority because no one acquiesced to a higher standard. Everybody decided, I'm going to do this because this is easy. A lot of people want an easy life at the expense of everyone else within the society and environment. I have plenty of cousins in my 50s right now, still asking my aunt for like Christmas money. They 50.
Mm-hmm.
50, 50. Wow. I'm not lying. But it's like when they have sons and daughters who are far more capable than they are within the same environment, they don't ask, aunt for anything. So just because somebody is 50 or damn near 60 something years old and they still act like a child, you still shouldn't accept any consequences that come from those type of people.
I definitely get that, but this is my thing though. A lot of people are not going to rise to the upper echelons of society with the elite, is because they see a lot of the low down, dirty shame stuff that they're doing being also done by elite. So this is why I ask myself these questions. Like, we all want to be leaders, and I get leadership, and we all want to point the direction of going up. But if we see everybody doing all kinds of things, like we see debauchery from high to low. So that's my only question. I mean, it's hard to drive. It's hard for us to, prime example with the Black Manosphere. It's hard for us to drive these young men to greater standards. When you gotta look at some of the debauchery stuff that we make videos and talk about and have talking points on.
Yeah, but those are like listen, those are individual choices for people to tune into that stuff because I used to myself, and I'm gonna use myself as an example. I used to make the same type of videos, but once I knew better than to do that, because once I started making the same type of videos everybody else was making, I was no better of a driver to or for success than anybody else here. Why? I was doing the same stuff that everybody else was doing. So what I started doing was start talking about how I actually really got here. How I really got here was behavioral based. Yes, you exercise the actual principle for a while before it actually pays off for you. But see, some people only want to exercise the principle so long as they can keep benefiting off of it. And if they don't benefit off of it right away, they want to go back to what they were doing until another chance and opportunity comes up. I get what you're saying, but these people come from environments to where this is the normal type of behavior that they see. They've seen this type of behavior 18, 19 years before they come to a place where they actually be around men. This is why when you gather different groups of men together that has been raised under different circumstances of masculinity, it's very clear which people fit into certain environments and which people have to be around this community nonsense. Because other men ain't going to accept a certain type of standard or tolerance out of other people. And some will. So all this stuff is still based on individual choices at the end of the day. And it's like they decided that they was going to be the new many. Their numbers were the too few, but they decided to be the new many. They decided that, look, there ain't enough of me around. I don't fit in. So I'm going to go fit in with other groups of people that are not going anywhere. And that's fine. Dude, you
But
planted peanuts. Oh, go ahead.
we seen that, and we saw that real big in politics in 2020 when they were having all those riots and everybody was running around and they was actually showing the pictures of the people that was doing the riots. We saw that those were degenerates of society.
Yeah,
But
some of those people were police officers too. And nobody
exactly.
followed up on it.
And they were being funded by rich degenerates. So I get what you're saying about it's individual and it's personal. The problem is the degenerates have done a much better job at coalitioning together than like-minded men. I mean, it's evident at this point.
Yeah, because well, I mean, there is cohesiveness among thieves in their group, but there's not honor among them. Like what we see is a lack of decorum that anybody else would exhibit outside of their group. But just because they're together doesn't mean that they know how to handle it properly past a certain point, because all they're trying to do is benefit. If you're trying to just benefit off of a broken system, that is a very low station that you have to acquiesce as an actual group. It's kind of like a bank robbery. You rob the bank, everything gets divided up. If you take your ass back to the table to try to renegotiate that take, there's not going to be many people living beyond that meeting. If there's anybody that's going to live beyond that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. We saw that in that Batman movie where the Joker took all them Jokers out.
Yeah.
And he burned the money.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? I was just about to bring that up because when Men and Smart made that statement about, the people robbed the bank and they even split and they come back to the table, there's no, they don't come back. The first thing that came to my mind was that scene from The Dark Knight when Joker took everybody out. He burnt the money. Yeah.
Like
But
as he was explaining that, I was like, damn, that sound like that scene verbatim, man.
but also too, I think I made this statement early in the stream, but I will repeat myself like always, is that also when you see this level of degeneracy that is tolerated, it has become tolerated. That's why this, and the more something gets tolerated, the more an issue becomes tolerated, the bigger and bigger the issue becomes. Because when people tolerate a certain issue, that means that there is nobody to actually extinguish this issue and remove the issue. So the issue only becomes bigger. So this is what happens when you see this level of degeneracy to the point of, degeneracy to the point of the fact that we saw what happened on January 1st. It's January 6th. January 6th.
Yeah.
It was tolerated for such a long time. We go back to 2015 when, Mr. Orange was campaigning, and we saw this level of degeneracy, and it was still tolerated. And it was tolerated up until 2016 when he got elected, and it was tolerated throughout his throughout his administration. It was tolerated throughout when he was in power, and it was tolerated even in the 2020 elections. This same level of degeneracy was still tolerated. So it's like, this is what happens when you tolerate degeneracy, when you tolerate bad behavior, when you tolerate these things, and when you have these concepts like, oh, we can't judge anybody. What the fuck? We can't judge anybody. That's just Norse code for saying we can't have a standard. That's really what it means. When someone says don't judge, it really means don't have a standard. Because how in the world can you not judge? How can you live in a world and we can't judge anybody? So I can't judge you based on your actions. So because that way of thinking have been adopted more and more and more, we saw a larger level of toleration for degenerate behavior to the point that that's what we see today, especially in Black America. But go ahead, Pastor. So
I'm glad you said that, because if you look at the Dark Knight to January 6th, one thing the Joker and Trump was able to do is they made it sexy. They made it attractive. Joker went there and said, y'all got a problem. Y'all can't solve it. Y'all can't make no money. Y'all can't live how y'all want to live. I can fix your problem. That became sexy to them. You can't. You live in a country where you got these laws, that law. Trump made it sexy to be a degenerate. I'm not gonna lie. I was rocking with Trump because I felt the sexy appeal of the degeneracy of saying, I run this, I control that, I vote this way, you do this. The control, it became sexy. I ain't gonna lie, it did.
Yeah, I got one thing to say about that, and this goes back to the Dark Knight. People miss the part about the Joker social experiment that was actually very true. When the prosecutor gave the explosive to Tiny Lister Jr., that guy was willing to have that guy press the button even though he wouldn't. That's the realest part of that. He gave that dude the detonator so he could press the button so he could live, even though he put all those good people at risk by doing so. He freely and willingly did it, and it did not take a whole lot of coercion to give the explosive detonator to him. That was the realistic portion of that. Like in most cases, in that situation, the other boat would have been gone, and they just would have blamed Tiny Lister Jr. for taking it from the guy. Even though all those cops would have lived on that boat, because they would have sacrificed everybody on that boat. They don't care about what's happening everywhere else, and that's what. And that's the key thing that happened there.
okay. Man, tomorrow you was borging a little bit, and now you're back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. A phone call came in. So it's like this. It's like for the Joker's social experiment. That's not incorrect that the actual prosecutor or the cop would have gave the detonator to the actual criminal to have him do it, even though he would have benefited from the actual action himself. That's all I'm clearly saying.
right. Got you. Oh, dang. Man, this world is something else, boy. This world is something else.
It is. That's crazy, man. He made survival immediate and attractive. Like y'all, like, cause he put those two boats against each other. He said, look at them. Look at them. Who's really more attractive? Who's really better for your society? Who's willing to do something? And that is where the degenerates are willing to take it where others won't. That's how they win.
Yeah. But I'm going to stick to, because a lot of times they're tolerated. The degenerates are tolerated. Look at the current black men, for example. If we didn't live in a world where degeneracy was highly tolerated, a lot of these content creators would not be as big as they are today. It's highly tolerated. And like you said, Pastor, it's sexy. You know what I'm saying? It's sexy to walk around and say, unfortunately, it's unfortunately sexy to say, I would love to see black women drown in the pool of their own blood. It's unfortunate, but it has become sexy for someone to say that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's some degenerate shit, Yeah.
And then he just gets sexier and sexier from that. Now we having arguments about black fetuses, and we went from black women to loving walking in their blood to
They know
black
their deliveries tomorrow
fetuses.
morning. They know I'm throwing them out of the way.
Yeah.
They went to black fetuses. Then they went to the black women looking at the black men hanging in the trees. To it's just who can make the biggest, nastiest argument and make it sexy for the people to devour. And it's really just devouring us as people, whether we decide to be together or not.
There's another thing on to the end of that the argument just made, and not be responsible for the result. You have to put that on the end of it, and not be responsible for the result of it. Make the argument, but not be responsible for the result of it.
Yes.
That's deep right there.
Yes. Looking to out nigger each other and not be responsible for the end result of out niggering each other. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what it is. And it's insane. It's insane. But guys, I am about to end this stream. But before I do, I want you guys to give your final thoughts if you have any. So Man of Tomorrow, what do you have any final thoughts, bro?
I know, sir. Thank you for having me on. Remain principled. You guys have a real nice night. Peace.
All right, you too. Thank you for coming on, man. Tomorrow, you already know you're inviting anytime. Past the $40. Do you have any final thoughts?
Thanks for having me up, Wacky. And y'all watch what y'all are manipulated into thinking is sexy and cool. Have a blessed one, brother.
All right, you too. Thank you. And with that being said, with me, thank you for all the people that came onto the stream. Big J Triple X, Man of Tomorrow, past the $40. Appreciate you guys for coming on the stream. For those of you who's in the chat, shout outs to y'all. Shout outs to Sheet We Here. Shout outs to Perfect Timing. Shout outs to Sheila Either Quiet Storm. Shout outs to Third Ward Colombian. Shout outs to the Socialite Podcast. Shout outs to R Jizzle. Shout outs to Sir Yahoo. Shout outs to Blazer Stampede. Shout outs to American Negro, or in this case, American Egro. Shout outs to G Dizzle. Shout outs to Black Curls. Shout outs to Rashawn Benson. All right, so you guys have a very blessed day. Peace. And, don't be a degenerate like the rest of these niggas. All right, I'm out of here.